Welcome to my basement studio. This is where the magic happens with my painting. I was a daughter of an artist who was an art school teacher, and then she later became a potter. And so I went to college going to be a potter as well, and then discovered the graphic design world. So converted to graphic design and then made all my art my hobby. And so then I started painting and started playing with materials and color, and I really love color. And so part of my goal here is to mix the paint and the metal and other dimensional things together. It's something that I think that most people don't really see when you're doing painting is kind of that whole mix of my graphic design world. I go in and I take a photograph of it and then I play with it. So I've added some pink colors in here. Then I say, well, this pink is too strong. What if it's a lighter pink? So then I lower the pink and make it a little bit less intense. Still not sure I like the pink. So then I push back into maybe I just need more yellow. And so I'm adding in sort of this gold yellow. And so then I'm also darkening some of these other areas so that I get a nice repetition of these coming in on this side. It's allowing me to do a little bit of experimental work without actually putting paint on canvas. And I think I do that because I'm a graphic designer by trade. And so this helps me to think in dimensional form. The materials I like to use are a mixture of paint, a little bit of the texturing with gesso. I do collage work of a variety of painted papers that I use in my collage work, or I paint just raw with actually acrylic paint. I think from tool point of view, when it comes to painting, I think there are probably three. The first one is my beloved dough scraper, because you can do things where you pull paint or spread paint, so that's a lot of fun. Second one is, I think it's used for spackling. What I really like about it is when you put a layer of plaster or gesso down and you pull through this, you get a nice striped effect. So I use that for texture a lot. I'm not a little brush person, I'm a big brush person. So I like the bigger brushes because it forces you to not get into all the tiny little details. I am very influenced by comic books and the sort of the strong contrast that you get in the very dark darks. I think the styles and themes that I use in my work are probably lots of circles. I do like circles. I like curves. One of my friends says that my work is not a cubist influence, so he calls it circleist. I do think that there's almost a point of things that come from a center in a lot of my work too. I like energy, I like movement. Very rare do you see something that's very gridded, always something that is disrupting that. I do like having my work around me. I have a whole room beyond me that is all filled with my work. I naturally work in sort of a U shape, but I need tables because sometimes I do things in phases. So I'm working with multiple things laid out on a table that are in various states of disarray. Sometimes there's 10 things and sometimes there's nothing. This is a piece I find very engaging, and I think the reason I like this one so much is because of, again, its energy. Also, I like the scale. I've never been a minutia person, and yet at the same time this has a lot of small little details within it. It's just they're under things, and it has sort of that burst that I talked about, and it's sort of coming from a point. And I do feel like there's a diagonal energy that's kind of coming from where the light is. So this is a piece that I'm pretty proud of. I think this is probably my favorite one, at least recently. And the reason I am drawn to this is because there's something about the eyes that I really find intriguing, and I like the fact that you kind of explore it. It's not absolutely a face that you understand. It's one you have to kind of get into.